Tonight, we begin with a story that stretches from the corridors of power in Washington to the bustling streets of Beijing, two capitals at the heart of a global economic standoff. The decisions made in these cities ripple across continents, shaping the lives of millions. From the hum of American factories to the vast Canadian farmlands, and even further south to Mexico's auto plants, the impact of this trade war is felt in every corner of North America. Workers, farmers, and business owners all find themselves caught in the crossfire of shifting policies and uncertain futures. It's about a trade war that's put billions of dollars and millions of jobs at risk. Stock markets tremble, shipping ports bustle with uncertainty, and investors watch nervously as tariffs and counter-tariffs threaten to upend decades of economic progress. The US, under President Trump, imposed steep tariffs on allies and rivals alike, shaking the foundations of global trade. These bold moves were meant to protect American industries, but they have also sparked retaliation and deepened divisions with key partners. Long-standing alliances, especially with Canada and Mexico, have been strained. Decades of trust and cooperation are now being tested as leaders scramble to renegotiate deals and salvage relationships that once seemed unbreakable. Amid this turmoil, a massive project is rising on the US-Canada border, the Gordie Howe International Bridge. It's more than just a construction site, it's a beacon of hope for those who believe in the power of connection and collaboration. This bridge isn't just steel and concrete, it's a bold counter-move to protectionism, a symbol of economic cooperation. Every beam and weld represents a commitment to keeping trade flowing, even as political winds shift. While tariffs build barriers, this bridge aims to tear them down. It promises to make trade faster, safer, and more efficient, ensuring that goods and people can move freely between nations despite rising tensions. We'll explore how this single piece of infrastructure has become a pivotal player in a global drama, challenging the very gamble President Trump has made. The bridge stands as a testament to resilience and the enduring importance of international cooperation. This is the story of a bridge over troubled economic waters, a story of risk, resilience, and the hope that even in times of conflict, we can still build something that brings us together. The trade war erupted in 2018 when the Trump administration shocked the world by slapping a hefty 25% tariff on a wide range of goods imported from Canada and Mexico. This move marked a sudden and dramatic escalation in trade tensions, targeting some of America's closest trading partners and allies. For decades, the US, Canada, and Mexico had enjoyed relatively smooth economic cooperation, with goods and services flowing freely across borders. The new tariffs represented a sharp break from the spirit of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which had been the backbone of regional trade since the 1990s. Businesses on all sides of the border scrambled to adapt, as supply chains that had been carefully built over years were suddenly thrown into chaos. Factories faced delays, costs soared, and uncertainty rippled through industries from automotive to agriculture. But the Trump administration didn't stop there. Almost simultaneously, it hiked tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, opening a second front in the trade war. This aggressive stance sent a clear message. The US was willing to challenge not just rivals, but friends, in pursuit of what it saw as fairer trade. The administration insisted these tough measures would revive American manufacturing, bring back lost jobs, and shield US industries from what it called unfair foreign competition. Supporters cheered the bold approach, hoping it would restore American economic strength. President Trump himself argued that tariffs were not just about economics, but about national security and the long-term health of the American economy. He framed the fight as a necessary step to protect American workers and industries from being undercut by foreign competitors. However, critics, ranging from economists to business leaders and foreign governments, saw these actions as a dangerous turn toward protectionism, wrapped in the language of patriotism. They warned that tariffs could backfire, raising prices for consumers and provoking retaliation from trading partners. In a controversial twist, the administration even tried to link the tariffs to the fight against fentanyl trafficking, suggesting that economic pressure could help curb the flow of illegal drugs. Canadian officials, however, flatly rejected this claim, calling it unfounded and unrelated to the real issues at stake. The result was a diplomatic standoff, with negotiations growing tense and the world's attention fixed on North America. As leaders met at global summits and news outlets reported on every development, it became clear that the rules of international trade were being rewritten in real time. The stage was set for a prolonged and unpredictable conflict, with ripple effects that would be felt not just in boardrooms and factories, but in households and economies around the globe. America's trading partners wasted no time in responding. The announcement of new US tariffs sent shockwaves through global markets, and within days, the world's major economies were preparing their countermoves. The international community watched closely as the first signs of retaliation began to emerge, signaling a new era of uncertainty in global trade. China, the world's second-largest economy, hit back swiftly with tariffs on US agricultural products. These measures were not random. They were carefully chosen to target states vital to Trump's political base, including soybeans, pork, and other key exports. American farmers, who had long relied on Chinese markets, suddenly found themselves facing plummeting demand and growing uncertainty about their livelihoods. Canada, usually America's closest ally and largest trading partner, responded with its own set of tariffs, imposing a 25% duty on $20 billion worth of US goods. Canada targeted a wide range of products, from steel and aluminum to household staples like ketchup and maple syrup. The message was unmistakable. Canada would defend its interests, even if it meant escalating tensions with its neighbor. These moves were calculated to inflict both economic and political pain, signaling that Canada would not back down easily. Canadian leaders stood firm in press conferences, emphasizing their commitment to fair trade and the need to protect Canadian jobs and industries. The diplomatic tone grew sharper, and the usually friendly cross-border relationship became strained. Mexico, meanwhile, condemned the US tariffs, but initially chose diplomacy over immediate retaliation. Mexican officials highlighted the deep economic ties between the two countries, stressing the importance of dialogue and negotiation. However, they made it clear that if the situation escalated, Mexico would not hesitate to defend its own economic interests. The tit-for-tat exchange quickly escalated the trade war into a global conflict. Headlines around the world warned of a looming economic showdown, and financial markets reacted with volatility. Investors, businesses, and governments braced for the ripple effects that would soon be felt across continents. By targeting key US industries, Canada and China aimed to create internal pressure for a reversal of the tariffs. American manufacturers, farmers, and exporters began to feel the squeeze as orders dried up and costs rose. The hope among America's trading partners was that domestic backlash would force a change in US policy. Businesses and consumers on all sides were now caught in the crossfire. Store owners faced higher costs for imported goods, while shoppers saw prices rise on everyday items. Workers worried about job security as companies struggled to adapt to the new trade environment. The uncertainty rippled through supply chains, affecting everything from raw materials to finished products. The era of stable, predictable trade was over. Factories that once thrived on international orders now faced closures, and long-standing business relationships were put to the test. The world was entering uncharted territory, where old rules no longer applied and every country had to look out for its own interests. The world's largest trading relationships had become battlegrounds. Trade routes that once symbolized cooperation and prosperity were now at the center of a high-stakes economic conflict. Every shipment, every negotiation, and every policy decision carried new risks and consequences. The stakes had never been higher. World leaders gathered at summits, searching for solutions while financial analysts tracked every development. The outcome of this trade war would shape the global economy for years to come, affecting millions of lives and livelihoods. The message was clear: no country would absorb the cost of tariffs without a fight. Protests erupted in major cities, and government officials delivered strong statements defending their nation's interests. Behind closed doors, negotiators worked tirelessly, hoping to find common ground before the damage became irreversible. The global economy braced for impact. As uncertainty loomed, everyone, from small business owners to multinational corporations, prepared for a turbulent future, knowing that the decisions made in these critical moments would echo for generations. The Trump administration insisted tariffs would revive American manufacturing and address national security concerns. But markets reacted with alarm. Stock indices tumbled and uncertainty spread. Businesses faced disrupted supply chains and rising costs. Consumers braced for higher prices. The standoff eroded the predictability that global commerce depends on. Economists warned of a possible downturn if the trade war dragged on. the world economy was suddenly in limbo with no clear end in sight. Canada's response wasn't just tariffs. It was a $4.8 billion investment in the Gordie Howe International Bridge. This project, linking Windsor and Detroit, is more than a transportation upgrade. It's a strategic move to bypass choke points and insulate trade from political volatility. The bridge will be the longest cable-stayed span in North America, with 6 lanes and state-of-the-art customs plazas. It's designed to streamline cross-border trade, reducing wait times and boosting efficiency. Canada is betting on infrastructure, not obstruction, to secure its economic future. The bridge is a declaration. Canada is committed to open, reliable trade with the US on its own terms. It's a long-term investment that will outlast any trade dispute. Building connections, not barriers, is Canada's answer to protectionism. The Gordie Howe Bridge will transform North American trade. The aging, privately owned Ambassador Bridge has long been a bottleneck for the $700 billion US-Canada trade relationship. The new bridge introduces competition and redundancy, ending reliance on a single crossing. It's engineered for efficiency, handling thousands of trucks daily and slashing border delays. For industries like auto manufacturing, this reliability is a game changer. The bridge directly counters the friction and costs imposed by tariffs. It's a strategic asset that strengthens Canada's negotiating position and shifts the conversation from short-term disputes to long-term prosperity. Investing in connections, not barriers, is the new playbook. The bridge's impact goes far beyond construction jobs. It will boost the Windsor-Detroit corridor, through which a quarter of US-Canada trade flows. Lower transportation costs will help businesses stay competitive, offsetting tariff pressures. For automakers, the bridge is a lifeline, keeping just-in-time production running smoothly. Farmers on both sides will gain faster, more reliable access to each other's markets. The bridge is a symbol of renewed commitment to shared prosperity. It's a tangible investment in cooperation, not conflict. The economic ripple effects will be felt for decades. Amid trade war tensions, the Gordie Howe Bridge stands as a symbol of hope. It's a testament to the deep, mutually beneficial US-Canada partnership. While tariffs divide, the bridge unites, reinforcing the logic of cross-border cooperation. Canada's investment shifts the narrative from retaliation to constructive solutions. The bridge could inspire renewed dialogue and diplomacy, paving the way for de-escalation. It's a daily reminder that shared interests can overcome political storms. The project is a vote of confidence in North American integration. Even in disagreement, the bridge shows that common goals endure. The Gordie Howe Bridge offers a path toward resolving trade tensions. As its benefits become clear, faster shipping, lower costs, reliable supply chains, the case for protectionism weakens. The bridge is a permanent asset, shaping North America's economic future for generations. It stands as proof that open trade and shared infrastructure are the real foundations of prosperity. The project invites a shift from division to connection, from short-term politics to long-term vision. The bridge is more than a crossing. It's a pathway to a stronger, more cooperative partnership. The future is being built, one steel cable at a time.